I know a lot of you will agree with me that the FN SCAR series of rifles is insanely overpriced. You probably want one, but just like me, you're not gonna drop $5,000 on it. Well, this new rifle from IWI might just kind of be the answer to those prayers, I hope. We're gonna break it down into 5 key categories and give you everything you need to know on the IWI Carmel in 5 minutes or less. Midwest Gun Works is a classic one-stop shop for everything gun, whether you need tools, accessories, or lead distribution devices. They've got it all. And if you're looking for that one part that you can't find anywhere else, try out their parts finder, which features a ton of brands and thousands of parts for all kinds of different guns. To learn more, head over to MidwestGunworks.com. This gun is an Americanized version of the Carmel that has been around since 2019. We got this version here in 2023. At its core, it's a 5.56 rifle with a 16-inch barrel that has a 1-in-7 twist, M-LOK handguard, adjustable gas piston system, non-reciprocating charging handle, ambi safety, and a side-folding adjustable stock for both height and length. And now that you've got the basics, let's get into it. For build quality, this thing feels surprisingly well put together. I say that because it's got a lot of polymer on the outside. The handguard is metal, but the majority of the outside of the rifle is polymer. There are metal reinforcements all over the inside, which likely contributes to it feeling well built, and that probably also helps it feel really buttery smooth while shooting. We experienced no reliability issues with the exception of the stock, and I'll get into that in the features section. 4 out of 5 for quality. For ergonomics, this thing is very similar to our home base known as the AR15. The controls are in similar places and none are hard to manipulate or reach. The side charging handle is a nice touch and it feels like it's kind of right in the correct spot for my longer arms. My biggest complaint for ergos is the handguard being rather squared off on the bottom. Sure, we could add an angled grip and that would probably help, but I'd rather see some contour in the design here instead of that just flat bottom. The ergonomics of the adjustable stock are excellent. They are super fast and intuitive to adjust. It's one of my favorite adjustable stocks to date. 4 out of 5 for ergos. When it comes to features, this thing is stacked. The adjustable gas system is really easy to use, the ambi controls are easy to use, and overall, it feels to me that they just checked a ton of boxes for, I guess, like next generation rifles. That brass hit me right in the face. Did it? Oh yeah, it was very funny. And yes, the ergonomics of the stock are great, I said that, but the side folding mechanism on our example was not amazing. You really have to slam that thing to get it to lock. And sometimes it would just kind of bounce open after slamming it as well. I don't know. Now, this did not cause any issues when firing, but if you needed to come out of concealment and it didn't lock, that could be a problem. I'm betting it's a spring tension issue because the back of the receiver is open and that's where you disassemble the gun, so you're like fighting against that. I don't know. Maybe you're fighting it, maybe you're not. It didn't work great. That was like the biggest issue with the whole gun. Just leave it closed, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of a cop-out. 4 out of 5 for features. Now, for practical accuracy, aka how accurate we can be with it, my expectations were kind of low because the barrel is thin. It's a pencil profile, and typically those do not produce amazing accuracy. We were netting 2 to 2.5 inch groups with 55 and 77 grain ammo, as well as with the suppressed 77 grains. That's just not great. Okay, 55 grain IWI Carmel, 77 grain IWI Carmel, 77 grain suppressed IWI Carmel. The trigger is actually way better than I expected, but that didn't really help us net better accuracy results. I'd love to see this with a chunky, like 12-inch barrel to see if that does the trick. Now, being that this thing sort of has a pedigree of a battle rifle, none of this is surprising, but again, not great. 3 out of 5 for accuracy. Now, when it comes to value, it's a matter of perspective. The MSRP on this thing is $1,800. For that money, you could grab a really solid AR-15 that will likely shoot better groups. However, if we compare it to the FN SCAR, with which this shares a category in my mind, this gun kicks the SCAR's on value. I made a video 8 years ago discussing whether the Beretta ARX100 was an AR-15 killer. That's probably what comes to mind for this. Of course, it wasn't, and neither is this rifle, but is it a SCAR killer? All damn day. 3 out of 5 for value, giving it a total of 18 out of 25. That's an above average score.